What's up, YouTube? My name is Hadim, and this is Check After Check. This is welcome to my page. Hope you guys get a lot of good information out of this situation, a lot of motivation. We're in a situation where, life's different. We're in a situation where we've never been here before. Social injustice, we have coronavirus that's running rampant. People losing jobs and things like that. And, everybody got to try to figure out different ways to go across everything, meeting people, making money. And I definitely wanted to kind of tap into that and make the channel to where we can basically come together and figure out what we're going to do, basically. I know a lot of people that have side hustles, and they might not be, the CEOs that get interviews about these things, and you can learn a lot from them. But I think it's also important to kind of show that, hey, look, no matter what level you are, starting is definitely the first step. And, we might interview some people, and they might switch it up, and they might be doing something totally different. But the point is that they're doing something, and I think that if nothing else, it's going to show as motivation for a lot of people. Basically, like and subscribe. We're going to be in a situation where we're going to be here for a while, so let's make the most of it. So, what has me here? What has me on YouTube? A lot of things, to be honest. But I think that, my life, my journey has brought me to this moment, and it's something that I want to share with everybody, so let's get into it. So, around the time when I was about 19, I started in the car business. I started selling cars. I worked at a dealership. Wasn't necessarily like a Kia or a Honda dealership. It was more of like a second chance type of deal. And basically, we would help people out with bad credit and things like that. And but I work with veterans. So I'm a young guy. And they had they poked a little fun at me and things like that. But for the most part, everything was good. I remember the first car I sold, I made $500. Now, mind you, I'm coming from making like minimum wage. So I spent about an hour of work and I made $500. I was hooked, And this is after me coming from, college and things like that, where I made good grades and everything like that, but my parents couldn't necessarily afford the tuition, so I had to stop. And me thinking that I'm gonna bounce back and go right back into it. I started making a little bit of money, and that just wasn't the case. But don't regret it here now, and definitely gonna make the most of it. So that goes on for a couple of years and things like that. And I'm young. I'm making $60,000 a year. I don't have any kids. You can't really tell me nothing. I no major bills. I'm living at home with my mom, and I'm thinking that like, hey, look, I'm tired of I work all these hours. What you do in the car business, and I want to basically have my own spot. So me and my best friend at the time, we moved out. We got an apartment, whatever like that, and we moved a little bit further away from home just because we wanted to kind of have our own space. And we decided that that was my first kind of foray into trying to go into real estate as an agent, which I would not recommend if you're starting out with a whole bunch of new bills. It's starting a business, you want to go into it with as little expenses as possible, which I didn't know at the time. So at the time, at my current, I didn't necessarily quit selling cars. I got my real estate license and things like that, and I moved out to Virginia. And Virginia was fine and things like that, but I just got tired of just the whole disrespect and things like that I felt like I was getting at my current job, so I changed jobs. I don't regret leaving. I do regret changing jobs without really understanding how much money I'd be making at the next job. Because in sales, it's not like you get an offer letter and they're guaranteeing you, hey, look, you're going to make this much money and things like that. Your sales are based on your production, and your production can vary. We all like to think that we control our own production, but in some cases, you could move to a place that has less people, or the average income is a little lower. And I wasn't necessarily making as much money as I was at the previous place. So at the time, I went out there, I had a car note, I had, other type of bills and certain loans and things like that, and all those started to slip. Rent was never on time, stressing out and things like that. And my roommate, my best friend at the time, he's not doing much better. The bills kind of piling up for him and things like that. And he basically is in a situation where, he's, after about, 6 to 7, 8 months or something like that, he's thinking about moving out and, moving in with his aunt and save some money, which nothing was really wrong with that. But basically, he was asking for me to sign him off the lease, to kind of, absolve him of any responsibility that he would have to pay for it. I didn't really understand at the time, me being so young, what I was doing, and I signed him off. Because, I mean, you gotta understand, like, this is my friend through, like, high school. Like, I've known this dude for years, you know. I mean, I went out of town, and I let him borrow my car, you know, and, you know, had no problems, nothing like that. I mean, you know, I trusted him. And basically, you know, he signed him off the lease, and then, you know, I never got another rent payment from him, ever. Just left. I moved back to, you know, my house, my mom, you know, and she's not used to, you know, seeing, you know, she didn't really expect me to be coming back, but, you know, I had to, I had no choice. So I moved back there, just to try to get my feet planted and save some money and things like that. And, you know, basically with the apartment only being in my name, you know, that's just my credit, that's my information on there. That's the only thing that they're gonna really go after. So that hits me. You know, not too long after that, you know, I'm riding around in my car and I ended up crashing. I totaled that one. But at the time, I had already had about a year of payments that I hadn't made on the car. So they were so slick. They picked the car up, got the car fixed and things like that through my insurance. And then once the insurance updated my new address, because they were looking for the car, like I hadn't made a payment yet, they were looking for the car, they couldn't find it. They updated my address and had me pay the deductible to get it out. And that same night, they came and picked the car up that night. So literally, like, I literally get the car back, I got no car. They repo my car, I owe so much money on it, I can't get it back, you know, it's just gone, you know. So I'm back at home, no car, and it was a BMW too, it was a nice car. You know, no car, I'm back at home, you know, I'm in a situation where, you know, I quit the current job because I wasn't making enough money there anyway. So, you know, I'm just down, man, you know, credit's horrible. You know, I have not had a whip since I was like 15. So to me, that was a huge step back there too. And I just don't know what to do. You know, I'm just, you know, I don't even want to look in the mirror. You know, I'm just down. One thing I knew about in the car business was that if you're in a situation where you get any type of, what's the word for it? Any type of experience, you usually can get picked up again. So I wasn't really worried about getting another job. My experience with the car business kind of had me in like a situation where I didn't know if I wanted to go back. But eventually, you know, living with your mom, and your mom sitting around here looking at you all day, you know, she's going to work, you know, she ain't gonna have that for too long. So she was just on me, you know, get a job, which I don't blame her for. She wants the best for me. And I ended up finding this place, this Honda dealership not too far from where I lived. But the only thing was I didn't have a car, you know, so I still had to get to work. So basically, you know, I had a bike, you know, and I started biking to work. So, you know, me being young, had a BMW, you know, had my own place, credit was decent, all that stuff. You know, I'm in a situation where I'm riding a bike to work to sell cars, and you know, there's no guarantee, but you know, I had put it in my mind like, hey, look, if I'm riding a bike to work, I'm making some money. Like I'm not coming to work to make friends or nothing like that. Like I'm gonna make some money. So basically, you know, I started out, you know, I went there, I did the interview, you know, I got the job or whatever like that, and I just started selling cars and doing what I knew how to do because I've always been pretty decent at it, no matter what. And you know, I just started stacking some money up and things like that. And you know, I bought a car cash, and just, you know, eventually, you know, after biking to work for quite a while in the summer, I saved up, I bought a car. So I'm riding, I got my 4 wheels, and trust and believe, like, perspective is something else. Like, that car had to be like an 03 Lexus. You couldn't tell me that thing wasn't a Bentley, man. I was in that, I was so happy to be off the streets, basically, that I didn't care what nobody had to say about that car. That car was the shit. Like, that car was nice. You know, a year or two passed at the dealership, you know, I'm doing okay, making solid numbers every month, you know, not really getting into much with the people there. And this is around the time I'm in my mid-20s. So I've been selling cars for roughly about 6-7 years up until this point. And I just get to the point where, you know, I'm just over it. You know, I'm over it. I see that certain people are getting promoted, that don't look like me, and I feel like I'm better than them. You know, and during this time, you know, my dad, you know, actually passed. So I'm feeling some type of way because I feel like, you know, I spent the last 3 years of my dad's life here, and I'm in a situation where I am not really getting any love. And one thing about, you know, your job and having a boss, is that, and I don't care what nobody says, you can work hard and do all that stuff. Your boss has to want to see you succeed. Like they have to, one, know what you want, and two, want to be in a situation where they can help you. Because if they don't want to promote you, or they don't feel like you're ready, they just decided, and that's your fate. That's one of the things that why I wanted to get out and kind of talk to some of these people about that whole transition and things like that, because it's something about having somebody control your destiny. Like no matter how hard you work, it's almost like a hopeless type of feeling. And I know a lot of people on this channel is going to feel that, and that's why they kind of made that transition, or why they started to make that transition. And without getting into too many details and things like that, I basically felt like, hey, look, these guys want me to sell cars forever. At the time, I started selling cars when I was 19. I had about 6, 7, 8 years of experience. I'm not doing this forever. Like I'm not spending my whole 20s in a dealership selling your cars. I'm just not doing it. And plus, I didn't really feel like the pay is where it needed to be, anything like that. So I ended up leaving that place after 3 years and started at another dealership. And the pay was a lot better. I must say, the pay was a lot better. I didn't really have as much drama and things like that. And my situation was, hey, look, if they're gonna pay me this much, I don't really have a lot of drama here. I'm gonna just do this till I can get my stuff together. And basically be in a situation where I can figure out how and what to do next, because I've always had like an entrepreneurial mindset, and I definitely know that I'm not quite ready yet, but I want to be able to make that next move. Things are going okay. I'm doing pretty well at the dealership. The new dealership is an Infinity dealership, and I ended up meeting my girlfriend at the time, now there, and I've always, put up solid numbers there. No one had any issues and things like that. I always tried to be a good team player and things like that. But, I started dating her, and she was another salesman at the time too. And I decided that, hey, look, I'm going on vacation for my birthday because I've been doing pretty well and I had enough money to go on vacation. You want to come with me? And she said, yeah. Well, we know, with 2 salesmen, and it isn't the biggest sales staff there. It's maybe like 10 salespeople total. Leaving for a week, you kind of put in some notice. I put in my notice, and she put in her notice a little bit after that, because we kind of didn't want people to know we were dating at the time. And we were in a situation where, we take off, and my GM at the time, my general manager at the time, I guess forgot that I had said, at least a month in advance that I was going. And he took it personally. That's another thing about having a boss. It's more, you're at mercy to what they think. If you're, no matter what your intentions were, if they think something about you, or they think something, they can act on that and really affect you. So what they did was they turned off my leads. Now at a Highline store, leads are basically people that say, I'm interested in the car that you have. Highline stores, you need that more than, let's say, like a Toyota or Chevy, because you might have a couple more walk-ins. So by him cutting off my leads, he cut off a significant form of income for me. And I started to notice things like, it was just weird, because if you do this long enough, that there's a certain amount of leads to expect and things like that. And I was just getting nothing. And one day I woke up, I'm at my girl's house at the time, and she turns on her computer, and she has 5 leads, 5 customers that say that she, over the weekend, because it's Monday morning, she has 5 customers that say that she wants a car. And I log in at mine, and I don't have anything. And it's supposed to be a situation where, it's a round robin system. Basically, you and the next person and the next person, and it starts over. There were so many leads that came in that she had 5, and I had none. And that was just, I was livid, because, one, I wasn't a bad salesperson. So you want to stick it to me so bad that where you don't want to sell these cars? Like, you want to put them in people that are less capable? And not saying my girl was less capable, but it's a situation of saying, like, because you felt like I didn't care about the situation, you just decided that I'm not worthy of the leads. I'm not worthy of providing for myself, which I just didn't like at all, and I ate it, but it definitely didn't make for the best workplace environment. So fast forward, this COVID thing hits, and a lot of people get laid off in my job, and I'm one of them. Do I feel like I should have been? It is what it is, and I think by the time that it came around for me to be laid off, I had just no energy. I just picked up my stuff and left, and it was just, it was just like, it is what it is. So, I'm home, whatever like that, and I'm in a situation where, I'm feeling a little down, I'm not really understanding, what the next step is going to be. And this is before I even knew about the whole $1,000 a week situation. So I really don't know. But I had some money. Like, I had some stuff saved up. I had, just started to dabble with the stock market and things like that. So I did have some stuff on there. But I was in a situation where I wouldn't be hurting necessarily if I didn't have a check coming in. You know, I don't want to use it all up, but I'm not hurting, you know, and I hadn't been in, and for somebody who was broke, had no car, and all that type of stuff, like, for me to be in a situation a couple years later where I'm not hurting if I lose a job is significant, you know. But, you know, things started to come around, you know, started getting a little bit of money from the government and things like that, and I decided to kind of dive back into the stock market. And at the time, you know, I was like, you know what, you know, I'm gonna take about, you know, I'm not sure about everything, I'm gonna take about $2,500. I'm gonna just see what I can do and things like that. And you know, with the pandemic and everything like that, and a lot of stocks being undervalued, I made a lot of money. I turned that $2,500 into about $16,000. Now, you know, on the grand scheme of things, $16,000 is a lot of money. Like, no, but to turn 25 into 16, I mean, that's like a 500% return. I didn't do the exact math, but you know, whatever. I'm sure somebody correct me. But so you know, we're still in the pandemic now. I'm kind of, you know, filling some things out and things like that in terms of my next move, and I'll keep you guys updated with what I'll do with that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell, and we'll you know, dive back into the actual, you know, some details and things that I might have left out. But this is just a video to kind of get you to know me, who I am, and what we want to do here, and hopefully, you know, we get some people on here that we can kind of talk to and just hopefully inspire all you guys. This is Check After Check, and this is Hadim, and we'll see you later.